Hi, my name is Raven Sataru, and I am the owner and founder of Ab-Seshat Marketing. A lot of people know about Ab-Seshat. They know that we design websites and that we edit books and we design product labels and services such as that. We also do resume and cover letter writing. I wanted to speak a little bit more today about some of the other works that we do behind the scenes, and that's including writing. I am also a writer myself. And I've written so far two children's books, which the first book came out about 10 years ago. It was called Comedic Myths for Children, and it is a book detailing through 7 stories that are drawn from the ancient texts, writing about the point of origin of creation and all the way up to the first African kings. The second book that I wrote was called Masaru, The Birth of a King, and that book was written kind of in response to the holiday season that a lot of children go through and a lot of children go to school. They don't have any kind of cultural connection because many people have chosen to bow out of the European standardized holidays and the winter holidays, but a lot of them are not aware of the Kemetic holidays that we practice. So I wrote a book. That book was for that purpose, and the essence behind it is that after Weben Jed, which is the winter solstice, and that is the holiday Basar, a few days later is considered the birth of Haru, and so that is a really powerful time of the year, and I felt that again that's something cultural that needed to be written about. I'm also working on a book now to address another area of our communal needs that doesn't seem to be getting enough energy, and that is about developing our language from being something that's written down on paper or something that we look at as hieroglyphs and Mdw Ntr written in drawn pictures, but that we don't use as a common speaking language. And this is a divine sacred language, and I think it is extremely important that we learn how to revive our own language for many, many reasons. Number one, this language, which was actually created by Seshat, so it's not an accident that Ab-Seshat, that my company Ab-Seshat is based on the divine principle of our ability to communicate, because this is a much overlooked area of power that we have as a people. The way we use words and the way we think about things affects the thought process that we have, the way we look at the world around us, the way we communicate our perception of the world around us to others, and then ultimately the way we react and respond to the world around us. All of those things come through our ability to communicate, through our ability to observe the world around us and to measure it. Seshat is also the divine principle, the Ntr of writing and mathematics and journalism, and all of those skills are really, really necessary, especially now in the times that we live in. All of our story is just never gotten out there. We have just seen the light at a very long, dark tunnel of lies that we have existed in for the last few hundred years while our culture has been stolen from us. And now that we are starting to awaken and to recognize who we are and what is our purpose here, and to see the reality again, and to reconnect with the divine energy that exists in all of us, individually and as a community and as a people, we need to be able to tell we need to be able to tell people what it is that we are seeing, what it is we're experiencing, what we are drawing back into us, and we need to be able to tell others not only how we see, but also how we arrived at the ability to be able to connect with the divine energy, to be able to connect with our history. So the ability to write and to communicate, again, I can't say it enough how important it is to be an effective communicator. We are the originators of language. The very first people, the very first language, the very first written and spoken language known in the world, it comes from Africa, and it comes from the Nile Valley. This can be disputed and has been heavily disputed, and the more information that we gather, from all areas, from all different research methodologies, all the way up to people who are still living in the continent and have their oral traditions which explain these things. All of these stories are convening into one truth, which is that we are the originators of language. So that's not even a debate or a dispute at this point. So again, I just wanted to give a little bit of background into the vision behind Ab-Seshat and why I have chosen language as a path to manifest our cultural traditions and to revive who we are as a people. So at the moment, I've already written these 2 books, but at the moment I'm actually working on a book for children. It's a book of the first 100 words in Mdw Ntr for children, and it comes with images of everyday things, so the book is going to be, it's a short book and it's designed for parents to be able to read with their children and also to learn from. And they're containing, words, everyday words like when verbs about brushing teeth and getting dressed and preparing for school, about sitting around the dinner table and eating dinner with the family, and some of the most common things that a family or a child will go through during the course of their day. And this language book is going to be the foundation to an adult book that I have coming out with some more advanced language in it. And both books will contain a CD, which is included so that people will be able to listen for pronunciation. Because one of the main reasons that I've discovered that we are not, as a community, speaking Mdw Ntr again as a whole is because there is so much controversy over how we are supposed to discuss, how we are supposed to say the different words. And right now, everybody seems to be looking sort of to the scholarly Egyptology people for their pronunciation. But this has been just as ineffective as not saying anything at all, because the scholars are just constantly debating among themselves about how things should be written, going back in time and looking over old works that have been put out 50 and 100 years ago, written in different codes that were effective for the people who were studying ancient Egypt. But right now, we are not studying ancient Egypt. We are actually trying to revive our African culture and live it. And all cultures, every nation on earth has a language that they speak, except us. We don't go back to our old languages. There are communities which are making moves to do that, and I applaud them. I think that is wonderful because, as I said, the spoken word is a vital means of communicating with the divine energy that's within you. You can remember who you are through your dietary laws, through your food, through the taboos of your people, through the DNA memory that is encoded in you, through your language, through your cultural clothing, through the medicines of your culture, through all sorts of traditions that are kept alive. And these are the things that are handed down to us. They are meticulously saved and handed down, and we have no reason today why we can't be using them. So this is a really, really powerful work that I want to contribute because we are not tapping into this tool. And as I was given the name Seshat, and I drew in the energy of that divine power into my being, because that it was perfect for me. I didn't even realize at the time that I was named, but Seshat and her connection with language really suits who I am. I've always been interested in the languages. I've always been very good at being able to pick up foreign languages and to speak them and to be able to relate between words and make connections between words of different languages and understand what they mean. So there's no gift that would make me happier than to take this skill that I have and actually be able to pass it on to our community and to be able to hear our language to begin to revive and be spoken around us all the time. Not just words, little words here and there where we substitute, one word in, kind of how the way, people come here, Hispanic people come to this country and then they have Spanglish because they, will speak English and then throw in a couple of Spanish words. We don't want, Comedish, whereas a few little Comedic words sprinkling among the English that we've been taught here. We want to actually be able to speak our language as a living language, the same as all other cultures are able to do. So this is just something I wanted to share with everybody. This is also, the last thing I want to share is just that Many scholars, again, are using different linguistic methods, research methodology that is European-based. And that's not to say, whether it's right or wrong, because obviously, everything isn't poison. They're using a European methodological research in order to put our language back together. And this is not working. We're watching it not work because none of us are speaking our language again. What we need to be able to revive a divine language is to be able to reach back into our divine tools and to be able to connect with it from there. So I'm also a yoga teacher. I will share more in another time, in another video, about my Wajet yoga, which is a style of yoga that I created. But while I was studying, I've studied yoga for many years now, and during the course of my studies, I encountered a sage who had spent 26 years in a temple just studying language and sound. And her daily task was just to meditate and to fast and go into speech fast, or to practice saying words and feeling what they meant. And in the course of my studies, this sage taught me the technique on how to feel the sacred sound of language come alive inside your being. And so the technique involves sitting down in front of your shrine, your altar, going into trance. For me, I would do a yoga set, which actually cleanses and purifies my being and prepares me for the meditation. Then I would go into a meditative trance in front of the altar and draw down the energies of the divine who I called to me during the yoga session. And I would sit meticulously for hours altogether since I've begun this work, and say specific words. And I could feel as I pronounced the word where the word was reacting in my being. Because a lot of people don't know that the mouth is actually another point of reflexology in the body. There are acupuncture meridians that go all over our skin, and those are used for acupuncture needles to be placed in. But there are our mouth and our throats and our teeth all have acupuncture points as well. And when we say specific words, we are actually igniting a space inside of us that is reaching back to a meridian that connects with another part of our body. So I'll give you an example here for saying a word like haru. When you say haru, this word is actually huh. It's not pulling up the sound fully. When you say haru, the word is coming from up here at the top of the throat, and then the ru is just coming from the lips, making into a sound to make the ru come out. Now, in the ancient language, we would say haru, and when you say the word in the correct pronunciation, you can feel an activation. The h of the haru, the forceful sound coming up, is actually contacting meridians in the throat, which connect with the heart chakra, with the heart energy. And the heart energy is being opened, and then the ru requires you to take the tip of your tongue and to place it on the roof of your mouth in a place that actually connects with the pineal gland. So when you say haru, you are actually opening the heart and then connecting with the divine wisdom center here. That's what haru is. Haru himself is the divine energy of opening the heart connection and going forward with it in wisdom into action. So when you pronounce his name correctly, you are actually bringing his energy into your being, and then by bringing that energy into your being, you are actually creating a space in which haru energy is actually expanding and awakening in you. There's nothing wrong with us saying haru to each other, because part of the function of language is also just specifically a communication tool. So if I say haru to someone else, and they are familiar with who haru is and what he is, they are able to understand what I mean. So that function of communication has been used, but there is a huge sacred function of language which we are completely missing by not pronouncing words properly. And all of the work that I have put together, that I'm working in these books that I'm writing, is of all of the words that I have come across in Mdw Ntr. I will take the words, again, in front of the shrine, in a deeply meditative state, and just pronounce the word and feel what centers within me, what meridians and energies get activated as I say the word. Some ways of pronouncing things are dead, they're flat, and they produce nothing. And then other ways of pronouncing words actually produces life force. You can feel something vital moving and connecting and coming together in you. Another example is the word Hotep. Now, Hotep is pronounced several different ways. A lot of people use the Egyptology Hetep. And Hetep, again, the He is something that comes from the back of the mouth, or from the center of the mouth forward, so it's He. So it isn't activating any of the throat, any of the energy here that opens up the heart. The word Hotep actually means peace. It means coming in peace, bringing peace. So the Ho has to be pronounced in such a way that the energy is coming up from here and contacting all of the meridians which activate and stimulate the heart. And then the Tep, the Hotep, the Tep is like a pop sound. It's like a snap. It pops the energy outward and forward. So you are bringing energy from the heart and just popping it out of you. So that is meaning now the peace that's within my heart, I present it outward to you. When you say Hotep, it doesn't activate any energy from down within the heart. It just is a dead sound that doesn't produce actually anything. And the Tep, because the He does not prepare the mouth to make a pop sound with the Tep is sort of a soft sound that just the energy of it dies just after it has passed the lips. So Hetep, again, is a word that when you say it, people will understand what it is you mean. People who are familiar with that word know what it is you're trying to convey, and so it's not wrong to use it. But we are not using and activating the main function of sacred language unless we use the words in a way that stimulates all of the centers. So when we say ho, and then also some people like to say Hotep, and when they say this, the Hotep is still coming from the front of the mouth. In English, we have learned to not use any of our throat. All of English is from this part of the mouth forward. And one reason that this is a dead language is because it doesn't stimulate almost any meridian. English barely stimulates any meridian inside the mouth. And our language is not designed to do that. That is not who we are. Again, the function of language and the tool of being able to convey what it is you think or mean to another person, yeah, this aspect is going to be used and useful. But we also need to remember that sacred language is about stimulating and activating divine parts within us so that we can become fully actualized beings. If I want to tell you peace, I can say peace to you and I can convey mentally through a thought into your mind what it is that I'm saying. But if I say it in the correct way, if I say Hotep and I stimulate my own heart energy and then pop it outward to you, I am actually vibrationally giving you, through the power of sound, I'm giving you the peace that I mean. I'm not just saying it to you. So this is something very, very important to me. This is a work that I've been engaged in for about the last 6 or 7 years, no, probably more than that, probably about 8 years. And I constantly am adding to my cataloging of words and their meaning. And I'm ready to put these things all down into some books. And I am very excited about this work. And again, this is the real meaning behind Ab-Seshat. This is the real vision of my heart, of the heart of Seshat. Is connecting language and bringing language alive to broaden and open up that part of our cultural tradition. I am looking forward to this, and I also would like to remind people just before I go to visit my website at www.ab-seshat, that's ab-seshat.com, or you can email me at ab-seshat.marketing@gmail.com. if you have any further questions or if you'd like some information. On my website is just the work that Ab-Seshat does as far as the website design, the product label design, the editing, and the resume writing services. But I also really encourage and hope that people can donate to Ab-Seshat and help us to develop these books, because this is a tool that's for all the community. Even as a business owner myself for Ab-Seshat, I have spent many hours offering free services or very, very deeply discounted services to members of the community who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs and contributing to our community from an economic standpoint, and often do not have the means to do that, or do not have the communication skills or background to be able to do that most effectively. And because I want to see us all win and I want to see us succeed, I offer my services to people for free very, very often, or again, for a deep discount. And I would love some help from the community to be able to continue offering that work out there, so that because all of us, when we feed those who are feeding us, we're all taken care of. And so I just want to point out to everyone that you can find me at, again, www.ab-seshat.com, and there is a donation button available on my website. If you make a donation of $10, I will send you a certificate for 50% off any of the services that you need through Ab-Seshat. And there's a good list of services, as I said, any kind of marketing services for a business. And any donation of $20 or more will get you a copy of my book, of any book of your choice. So that would be the Kemetic Myths for Children, that would be the Masharu, The Birth of a King, or a copy when this book is ready, and it should be produced and ready to go sometime within the next 2 months. And that's the children's language book. Also, I have a book on Wajet Yoga, which is going to be coming out sometime soon, most likely in time for the autumn equinox. And I would like to also extend that as a book of one of the choices that people can have. And I have a Wajet Yoga workbook, which is going to be following that just shortly, with images of the postures and the timing and everything necessary in order for a person to practice Wajet, even if they are not able to attend a class in person. I also have a DVD set coming out with that, so that people can also see the postures and to be able to follow along. So again, I give every day. I offer any of myself that I'm able to our community, because I really love my people and I want to see us win. And I will do anything. I will make any sacrifice that will make sure that happens. But these things, you understand, community, that we don't do these things alone, and we are constantly giving of ourselves to make sure that these things happen. So I encourage you to support, and you will get it back many times. Again, you visit me at Ab-Seshat.com, or you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Ab-Seshat. And I really appreciate you checking in and connecting with this video, and there will be many more on the way as I expand this pronunciation and this language aspect of our cultural tradition, which I really want to connect with everybody on and to bring back to life. I'm very excited about bringing this work forward. So much peace, many blessings to you, and Hotep.